Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel to another live stream. Today we'll be doing GCSE Edexcel Maths. Now in this live stream we'll be covering a paper from Edexcel which will highly reflect tomorrow's paper and the topics will be similar to what will come up tomorrow. So watching this will help you get your head around. Topics to do is So the first question is about arithmetic sequences. So as you know, on each sequence, if it's an arithmetic sequence, you look for the gap between each term. As we can see, in this term, over here it's a distance of 4, so that means our nth term is going to be 4n plus or minus x. As we can see in our first term, where n equals 1, 4 times by 1 plus or minus x equals 1. 4 plus or minus x equals 1. Therefore 4 subtract 1 equals x. X equals 3. However, as we can see here, 4n plus 3 does not give us 1. However, 4n subtract 3 in factors. Hence, the answer should be 4n subtract 3. Moving on to question 2, it's a fraction subtraction question. So what you want to do first is you want to convert the mixed fraction to an improper fraction, and you will put 3 4/5 into an improper fraction. So you'll multiply 3 and 5 to give you 15 plus 4 over 5, which equals 19 over 5. Then 1 2/3, same thing, 3 times by 1 plus 2 over 3, that is 5 over 3. As we have 5 and 3, we want to find the lowest common multiple of 5 and 3, which is 15. So to get 5/3 in a fraction which the denominator is 15, you will times both top and bottom by 5, which will give you 25 over 15. And in this case, you'll times top and bottom by 3, which will give you 57 I believe, 57 over 15. Now, 57 over 15 subtract 25 over 15 is a simple subtraction, as the denominator is the same, so we can just simply take it away, and that will give us 32 over 15. And just to be safe, we should give it in the form that they have given in the question. In the question, both the fractions have been given as mixed numbers. So 32 over 15, 30 goes into 15 twice, and leaves us 2 over 15, and this would give us 2 and 2 over 15, and that would get us the 2 marks. Moving on to part B, we are asked what is the mistake in his working out. So what we'd do is we'd convert 2 1/3 times by 5/8, convert the mixed number to a fraction. This would be 7 over 3 times by 5/8, multiply top by top 35, and 3 by 8 24, and that is our answer. Moving on to question 3, it is a question. Petra is going to cover the floor with paint. Petra has 3 tins of paint, and there is 2.5 litres of paint in each tin. Therefore, to answer this question, we must work out the area of the floor, then work out how many tins of paint it will take to cover the floor. So we should split this up in this complex shape into 2 rectangles. As we can see, the length here is 10 and the length here is 6. Therefore, this length here is 10 subtract 6, which is 4 meters. This length here is 8 subtract 5, which is 3 meters. Therefore, what we can do is that we can do the big rectangle, all of this, subtract this area, which will give us that area. 10 multiplied by 8 equals 80 meters. And the area that we are subtracting is 3 times by 4, 12 meters. Therefore, the total area of the floor equals 68 meters. Now, something that is mentioned in the question is that Petra thinks 1 liter of paint will cover 10 meters squared of floor. Therefore, if we have 68 meters, we will divide that by 10 and we will need 6.8 liters of paint. However, over here we see that 2.5 liters are in each tin. Therefore, we will need 6.8 divided by 2.5. However, as there are 3 tins of paint, we must times 2.5 by 3. And as we can see here, 6.8 is less than 7.5. Therefore, Petra is correct. And she does have enough paint. That is a simple question, 4 marks, very easy to get. However, part B now asks us, 1 liter of paint will actually cover 11 meters squared of floor. Will that affect your answer given in part B? Now this question above we had 10 meters squared of paint. Now we have 11 meters squared. As she already had enough, it will have no effect, as it will require rather less paint, and she already had enough. So it won't affect, rather she'll have more paint left over. This is only 1 mark, and most likely is 1 mark for the answer and the reason. It does not have to be a calculation, or it does not have to be a very detailed answer. Moving on to the next question is a Venn diagram question. As we are asked to write down the numbers that are in set P complement. Now, the complement sign means not something, so x complement would be not x. That means in this question we are asked to find the numbers that are not in P. As you can see, P is everything inside here, even if it's on the intersect. So all the numbers that are in set not P are 11, 13, 16, 17, 10 and 14. That's quite simple for 1 mark. Moving on to part B. A number is chosen from random from the universal set. Now the universal set is everything inside of this rectangle, even anything that is not included in either of P and Q. Now the probability that the number is in the set PQ, P union Q. Now this sign here and this sign, many people get mixed up in. Now it's quite easy to remember. This U sign is union, and this sign is intersect. Intersect, from basic English, we know that it's the part that overlaps, and you can remember it from the N sound at the start of intersect. And union is unity is when you are together. So it's quite simple, really, the concept. Over here we are looking for P union Q, so it's everything together in P and Q. So to find the probability, we are looking at the number of events in the total set. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means we have 5 out of the total, which is 5 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, our answer would be 5/9. That's a 2 mark question, and it's quite simple. Question number 5. Sophie drives a distance of 513 kilometers on a motorway in France. She pays 0.81 euros for each 10 kilometers that she drives. Work out an estimate. Now, as it's an estimate, you just need to remember to round the numbers that you're given. As you can see, on a non-calculated paper, it'd be very harsh for them to expect us to do 51.3 divided by 0.81. Therefore, 513 is common. It's quite a significant number that you'd want to round it to approximately 500. 0.81, you could round that to 1 euro. And 10 kilometers, you don't need to round that, as that's already rounded. For those of you asking in the comments, this stream is for higher, not foundation. And thank you for joining. And if you could you please share this to anyone that you know that would benefit from the stream? I'm just starting, so it'd be nice if you just let me know with some feedback in the comments as well. So back to the question. Sophie drives a distance of 500 in our estimate kilometers in a motorway in France. For every 10 kilometers, that means, so we have 50 kilometers, she pays 1 euro. So we would do 50 times by 1, and that is 50 euros. That is 3 marks. Moving on to part B. Is your answer to part A an underestimate or overestimate? Now over here we must write down what we are doing. So over here we have rounded down the total number of kilometers, which is at the top of the fraction, down. So it's smaller than what it actually is. Now we have divided it by 10 kilometers, which is the same. So therefore, in actual fact, this 50 kilometers that we have here should actually be higher. And 0.81 euros that we have, the 0.81 euros should be it should be 0.81 instead of 1 euro. Therefore, she is paying. Therefore, the distance we have is less, and what she is paying is more. Therefore, is low, as we use 0.8. Actually, we don't use 1. I think we'd round it down to 0.8. In fact. So as we also use a lower number for euro, 0.8 instead of 0.1, we are downsizing and underestimating in both places. Therefore, we get a lower answer to part A. Therefore, it is an underestimate. Now, question 6. Here is a straight line drawn on the grid. Find an equation for L. Now, for the equation in GCSEs, all you need to know is y equals mx plus c. Y is you write y, m is the gradient, and c is the y-intercept. So as you can see here, the y-intercept is at 3, so you do mx plus 3. Now for the gradient, we use the formula change in y over change in x. To do this, we do y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So if you took a point here, 2, 6, and you took the point 0, 3, y1 minus y2 would be 6 subtract 3 over 2 subtract 0, which would be 3 over 2. Therefore, our gradient m equals 3 over 2. Now, over here we just write y equals 3 over 2x plus 3. That is our answer. Now, if you want to check if this works, you would get your equation for the line, y equals 3 over 2, and instead of writing x, you'd sub in a coordinate. Let's say we want to sub in 3 over here. Not 3, we can't see where it goes on the graph. Let's say you sub in minus 1. You'd sub in minus 1 and add 3. That would give us minus 1.5 plus 3, and that gives us 1.5. We should check here. Yes, it is at 1.5. That means we have got our line correct. Now, the next part of the question, M is a different straight line. It's a different straight line. It's not the same one. With the equation y equals 5x. So this is a much steeper line as the gradient's higher, and it crosses through the origin as it has no y-intercept, as it has no c value for the y-intercept. Write down an equation of a straight line parallel to M. Therefore, as it's parallel, it will have the gradient 5. Therefore, any answer y equals 5x plus c with any value of c will work as long as it's not a 0. So y equals 5x plus 1. That would get us all the marks. Now, number 7. This proved to be quite a tricky question for many people in the exam. It's as long as you break it down, it's not too tricky. We have Qasim has small jaws, medium jaws, and large jaws. He has a total of 400 jaws. 3/8 of the 400 jaws of the total number of jaws are empty. Therefore, we can do 400 times by 3 over 8 equals 1200 over 8 equals 150 empty jaws. For the empty jaws, the number of small jaws to medium jaws is 3 to 4. The number of medium jaws to large jaws is 1 to 2. Therefore, we would write this down: S to medium to large, 3 to 4 to X, and Y to 1 to 2. If we times this here by 4, we would get, we'll leave the y out for now to make things simpler. We'll do 3 to 4 to x, and we'll do 4 to 8. Therefore, we get our ratio 3 to 4 to 8 for the empty jaws for small, medium, and large. Now for the ratio, we add them up: 3 plus 4 plus 8, that equals 15. 3 over 15 equals 1/5. Therefore, 1/5 of the empty jaws are small. Now we have 150 jaws times by 1/5, and that gives us 30 small empty jaws. Now, that does not give us the answer, as we are working out the percentage of Qasim's jaws that are empty small jaws. It is important to read every single question. It takes no more than 10 seconds to just see what units they're asking you, what form they're asking for your answer, as in this 5-mark question is definitely going to be 1 mark that you lose if you do not give the answer in the correct form, if not more. Now, the percentage of small jaws is 30 over 400 times by 100. Now, a mistake that many people make is that they do the percentage of Qasim's empty jaws that are empty small jaws. However, this is incorrect, as it just says Qasim's jaws. It does not say empty jaws. Therefore, you used 400, and you would do this 300 over 40. That's 30 divided by 4, 7.5% as your answer, and that is 5 marks. Moving on to question 8. Len has 8 parcels. The mean weight of 8 parcels is 2.5. The mean weight of 3 of the parcels is 2 kilograms. Work out the mean weight of other parcels. Now, we know that the mean equals the total divided by the number. Therefore, the mean weight of 8 parcels is 2.5. The total we do not know, and the number of parcels is 8. Therefore, multiply both sides by 8. We get the total equals 2.5 times by 8. 2.5 times by 8 equals 20. Therefore, the total equals 20 kilograms. Now, the mean weight for 3 of the parcels is 2 kilograms. Therefore, 3 multiplied by 2 equals 6 kilograms. Therefore, from the 20 kilograms, 6 make up those 3, and the other 5 will have 14 kilograms between themselves. 14 divided by 5 equals 2.8 kilograms. And that makes sense, as 2.8 should be greater than 2.5 in order to balance it out. For someone asking in the comments, this is higher for Edexcel paper 1 revision. Now that means our answer is 2.8 kilograms, and that is 3 easy marks. Now number 9 is a percentage change question. In a sale, the normal price of a coat is reduced by R%. Given that the sale price is 0.7 times by the normal price, find the value of R. So the sale price equals 0.7 times by the normal price. Now the normal price, someone has already written the answer in the questions. Yes, that is correct. So the normal price times by 0.7, 0.7 equals 70%. You should know this as 1 is the total percentage, 100%. So you would do 70 times by normal. And if the sale price is reduced by R, if the normal price is reduced by R to give 70, then that means 100 subtract 70 equals 30%. Therefore, R equals 30. That's only 1 mark, but it's an easy question at the same time. Now, this question is 4 marks, and many people find this tricky. However, it shouldn't be too tricky. Now, 5x minus 2y equals 23. There are 2 ways you can do this question, using either elimination or substitution. We'll see which way is easier after looking at the question. 2x minus 3y equals 18. Now, let's make both the equations, equation 1 and 2, make the x terms equal 10. So in the first question, in the first equation, we will times it by 2 to get 10x minus 4y equals 46. Now, on a question with simultaneous equations, it's important to double check your signs over and over again to make sure that you do not make any mistakes, as you'll be using many terms and it could cost you the marks, as a mistake at the start will mean you do the whole question incorrectly. Now, equation 3, we will times this by 5. 10x subtract 15y equals 90. Now, as we can see here, 10x equals 15y plus 90. So we can sub this into the first equation, where it says 10x minus 4y equals 46. 15y plus 90 minus 4y equals 46. Therefore, over here we get 11y equals 46 subtract 90. That gives us 11y equals minus 44. Y equals minus 4. Now, to get x, we would just sub it in. 2x equals 3y plus 18. 2x equals minus 12 plus 18. 2x equals 6. Therefore, x equals 3. So, y equals minus 4 and x equals 3. That's 4 marks. Now, question number 11. Triangle A is translated by the vector 6 minus 4 to give triangle B. So 6 minus 4 means 6 to the right, and minus 4 means 4 downwards. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, the top of our triangle is there. It's 2 down, so it goes 2 there, 2 across, and that gives us triangle B over here. triangle B is rotated 90 degrees clockwise about the point 1.2 to give triangle C. Now in your exam you will want to use the tracing paper that they give you. Place it over B, draw B gently and get the tip of your pencil or a compass if you allowed it. Place it onto 1, 2, the coordinate they're given us here, the center of rotation, and gently pivot it 90 degrees clockwise. As you know, a clock goes around that way, so 90 degrees around the point 1, 2. So that should get us here, and that is triangle C. Now describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle C. Now this question I'm doing it on an iPad, so I'm not able to work out the transformation. However, for your exam, you should be able to work it out using trial and error. You will want to place it on a point randomly like this and see if it pivots onto it. If it goes one too far to the left, you'll bring it one back to the left and keep trying over and over again. Now question number 12. Here are some graphs A, B, C, D, E and F, G, H and J. We have 9 graphs here. Write down the letter of the graph that could have the equation y equals x squared minus 4. We can see here the x squared, that tells us it's a quadratic graph. Minus 4, that means that it intercepts the y-axis at minus 4. It's a positive quadratic, so it'll have a U shape like this. And the quadratics are A, H, and that's it. A is negative, so it can't be that. H is positive, and it looks like it intercepts the y-axis at minus 4. Therefore, I is H. Y is a negative cubic. The cubics we have are F and E. And we have C as well. However, E and C are positive cubics, therefore the only option we have is F. And y equals minus 5 over x. As x is on the bottom, we see it's a reciprocal graph. It's a negative reciprocal graph, therefore it will be in these quadrants, not these ones. These ones are for positive reciprocal graphs. Now B is a positive, so it can't be B, and that only leaves us with J. Therefore the answer for I is J. Moving on to question 13, we are drawing a histogram. Histograms are found tricky by many people. There are many formulas that people have. However, you don't need a formula to calculate, to be able to draw a histogram. The table gives us information about the amount of time that each of 150 people were in a shop. Draw a histogram for this information. Now, as we can see here, the time goes from 0 to 60. So we look for an appropriate scale to go from there. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12 boxes, and as we go to 60, an appropriate scale would be 60 divided by 12. Therefore each one goes along by 5. Each small block is already 5, so that works out very nicely to give us 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Now we are looking for the amount of people, 150. However, we do not use that, as we use 30 for the highest peak on this side. Actually, we use 70. So we will do the same, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This one's up to you really, however you want to do it. Does anyone have any suggestions how you want to do it? So what we would do first is that we would find out the midpoint of the time. The midpoint here is 5. The midpoint here is 20, the midpoint here is 32.5, the midpoint here is 42.5, and the midpoint here is 55. The class width here would be 20 divided by the time, the amount of minutes here, which would be 2. Here it would be 70 divided by 20, which is 3.5. Here it would be 4.4. Here it would be 2, and here it would be 55 divided by 10. No, 8 divided by 10, which would be 0.8. Now, when it comes to plotting this, you would plot it using the class width. So the class width goes up to 4.4, and I think we'll use 5 instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our highest value will go up to 4.4. So for the time until 10, until here, we will go up to 2 for the class width. Until 30 minutes, our class width is 3.5. Till here. So we'll just draw that in. We'll draw the rest of it in very quickly. This one goes up to 35 to 4.4. So now we'll just connect this part up here. This line, it does not go up till there, it goes up to 2. Obviously in your exam you should be using a ruler to draw this straightly and correctly, so the examiner does not penalize you. You should be using a ruler and a sharp pencil anyways for maths. This will go all the way till 55, and our last class width is 0.8. 0.8 is around here somewhere, and it goes till 60, and that's our histogram, and it should get us 3 marks. Now work out an estimate for the fraction of these 150 people who are in the shop between 20 and 40 minutes. Now between 20, we have this part here, and 40, so it's everything in between here. Now an easy way to do this is to just count up the blocks. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27. So we actually have 27 blocks out of... No, we have 67 out of 150, and that is our answer. Now moving on to question number 14. Now question 14 is a triple bracket expansion. The way you do a triple bracket expansion is you start off with the first 2 brackets, or whichever 2 brackets look easier. In this case, x minus 5 is easier, so we'll leave that for the last one, as we'll be timesing it by a quadratic. 3x times by 2x is 6x squared. 3x times by 3 is plus 9x. This is minus 2x. And minus 1 times by plus 3 equals this. Therefore, that equals 6x squared plus 7x minus 3. And we'll times that by x minus 5. Now, for the first term in the second bracket, x, you will just be timesing everything by x, so you'll be gaining a power factor of x. 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 3x. And for the second part, we'll just be timesing it by minus 5. So that's minus 30x squared. Subtract 35x plus 15. That equals 6x cubed. 6x cubed minus 23x squared minus 38x plus 15. And that is our final answer. Moving on to the next question. OAB is a sector of a circle with center O and radius 6. The length of the arc is from AB is 5 pi. Therefore, this is 5 pi here. Now, as we know, the area of an arc is the angle theta over 360 times by pi d. In this case, pi d would be pi 12 pi as the radius is 6 and the diameter would be 12. This would give us 12 theta over 360 pi now to give us 5, that would divide 12, 360 divided by 12 would be 30. That means that theta over 30 pi equals 5 pi times both sides by, divide pi on both sides and times both sides by 5 by 30 equals theta equals 150. Therefore, theta equals 150. Now the area of sector equals 150 over 360 times by pi r squared. This would be pi times by r squared, which is 36. This is 15 over 36 times by 36 pi. Now 15 over 36, as it's an uncalculated paper, we'll have to simplify it. That is 5 over 12. 36 divided by 12 is 3. 3 times by 5 pi equals 15 pi centimeters squared. That is another 4 marks. Number 16, there are only n orange sweets and 1 white sweet in a bag. There are only n orange sweets and 1 white sweet in a bag. Sarah takes a random sweet from the bag and eats the sweet. She then takes at random another sweet from the bag and eats the sweet, so it's not replaced. That's important to note. Show that the probability that she eats 2 orange sweets is n minus 1 over n plus 1. So, as is a probability question, the first thing we really want to do is draw a diagram out. Orange, white, orange, white, orange and white. Now the probability that she takes orange is n over n plus 1. Then she has n subtract 1 over n. That would be n times by n minus 1 over n plus 1 times by n. This would be, these two would cancel, and that would give us n subtract 1 over n plus 1. It's at the end of the paper. It seems like a difficult question, however it's quite simple really. Now 17, rationalize the denominator of 1 over root 7. To rationalize, we have to get rid of the surd on the bottom of the fraction. So to do that, we multiply the denominator by root 7 by itself, and that gives us root 7 over 7, and that's rationalized. 1 mark. Simplify fully. Root 80 subtract root 5. Now to do this, we know that root 80 has to be in a factor of root 5. Therefore, to get root 5, we would need root 16 over here, subtract root 5. This would essentially be 4 root 5 subtract root 5. To make this easier for some people, just put a 1 there, and this would be 3 root 5. Number 18, show that 0.15, 1 and 5 both recurring, plus 0.2, 2 recurring, 7 recurring can be written in the form m over 66, where m is an integer we need to find. And so to do the question, we do 0.15 recurring equals x, and 0.151515 equals x. As it's recurring, as it's got 2 recurring digits, we times this by 100. 100x equals 15.1515 ... Therefore, 15.1515 subtract 0.1515 equals 15. 15 equals 100 subtract x, which is 99x. Therefore, x equals 15 over 99. Now 0.227 recurring equals 0.2272727. To be able to take this away, we need to get a 7. We need to times this by 100, by 1,000. So 1,000 over timesing. If this was x, then 1,000x would be 1, 2, 3. So the 7 would be here, 227.272727, and we would need 10x, which would be 22.727272. Now subtracting them would give us 375 over 990. Now we can put that into 37.5 over 99. We shouldn't be using decimals, however, in this question, as we are adding, it will make it simpler for now. Over 15 over 99 equals 52.5 over 99. Now to get this in the fraction over 66, we would divide this and get 25 over 66, where m equals 25. Now question number 19. A, B, C and DAB are similar isosceles triangles. Therefore, ABC equals this shape, and ABD is also the same shape, just a bit larger. Now, if BC to CD equals 4 to 21, then BC here which is 4, and if CD was 21, then AB over 4 equals 25 over AB. We'll come back to this question at the end, as there are not many people watching right now, and it's more beneficial to come back to this topic when there are more people watching. Now, question number 20, it's an index law question. It wouldn't be too bad if you came back at the start. 2 to the power x equals 2 to the power n over cubed root 2. Cubed root 2 equals 2 to the power minus a third times by 2n. Therefore 2x equals 2n times by 2 to the power minus a third. As we for those asking in the comment section, this is for higher Edexcel for the exam tomorrow. It's a revision session. Now, as you know, in index laws, when you multiply two numbers that have the different powers, you add the powers. So this would be 2 to the power x equals 2 to the power n subtract a third. Therefore x equals n minus a third. Now in the next part of the question we have 2 to the power y equals 2 brackets root 2. Root 2 equals 2 to the power of a half. 2 to the power of a half times by 5 equals 2 to the equals 2 to the power 2 to the power 5 Another thing we can do is we can add the powers. So that would give us 2 to the power x plus y equals 2 to the power n subtract a third plus 5 over 2. And by the way, the part just crossed out is meant to say 2 to the power 5 over 2. If we add this, we can see 8 equals n subtract a third plus 2.5. Therefore, n equals 10.5 subtract a third, which is 5 and 5 over 6. Now, question 21. We're approaching the end of the paper. Now, one tip I have for your exam is that the grade for those aiming for grade 9 and looking at some of these questions, and they may think it's impossible, however it's really not. I achieved a grade 9 and I did not score 100% on the questions at the end of the paper. Now something you must remember is that for a grade 9 it's always around 200. Now the year I did my GCSE maths exam for higher, the mark for 9 was 197. I got well above 200. However, something you must remember is to get around the 200 mark, you need around 66 on each paper. Now to get that, if you just get every single question right until question 18, and then you try to get as many marks as you can on the last questions. You're still guaranteed a 9, as you can afford to lose up to 40 marks on 3 papers. Now you should be aiming for 100%, as the saying goes, if you aim for the sky, you get the ceiling. If you aim for the ceiling, you end up on the floor. So you should not be aiming low. However, do not be stressed if you do not get all the questions at the end of the paper right. You do not need to be able to answer them. They are designed to challenge you. However, you should give it your best go, do as many steps as you can, and try to get all the marks available at the end of the paper. As you know, there are 5-6 marks most of the time. They're usually horrific geometrical questions. However, if they should come up, you should not worry. You should make sure that you get 100% on every single question till question 16, 17, 18. Now, question 21. A solid cuboid has a volume of 300 centimeters cubed. Now, so far, this looks like a pretty straightforward question. Now, we should draw it out. A solid cuboid has a volume of 300 centimeters cubed. It has a surface area of 370 centimeters squared. The length of the cuboid is 20 centimeters. The width of the cuboid is greater, therefore the width should be the longer side here. This is the width. The height is here. Now the cuboid has a surface area of 370 and the volume is 300. Now the volume equals length times width times height. This would be 20 times by WH. Now the surface area would be 2 times by WH plus 20H times by 2 plus 2 times by what would be here 20 times by W. Now this would be 2WH plus 20H, 40H plus 40W. Now that means that 20WH equals 300. 370 equals 2WH plus 40H plus 40W. Now as we can see here, there's a difference of 70 between each equation. So 70 equals 18WH So now with this question, we are meant to form a quadratic. Now the quadratic would be formed, and it would be, we would go from 2h squared minus 17h plus 30 equals 0. Now from here, using the factorizing method, 2 times by 30, so this is the a, b and c term, 2 times by 30 a, b, c equals 60. 2h squared, and now we have 17. Now we need to think which factors of 60 give add to give us 17. Straight away what comes to our mind is 12 and 5. Therefore, and as it's minus 17, we will be subtracting 12 and subtracting 5. Therefore 2h squared subtract 12h subtract 5h plus 30 equals 0. Now we factorize the 2h out. H minus 6 minus 5 h minus 6 therefore equals 2h minus 5 and h minus 6. Therefore we get h equals 6 or h equals 2.5. Now as the height is 2.5, now over here, as we know that either the width or the height is 6 and 2.5, the width has to be greater than the height. As W is greater than H, 6 is greater than 2.5, therefore H equals 2.5 and the width equals 6. So the height equals 2.5. That is 5 marks. Now sketch the graph for y equals sine x, and for between 0 and 360. So for sine, we know that it crosses from here and goes like this. For cos, we know that it starts here and crosses like this. And we know that it makes a full cycle at 360 and it crosses next at 180. So it will go something like this. Make sure that your graph goes to around what would be here as 1. I've done a bit of a rough sketch here. It would go past 1 over at this point, and that is 2 marks. Now solve the equation 2 sine x minus 1 for x which is between 0 and Now for this question, we have an equation 2 sine x equals minus 1. Now what we get is 210 and 330. Now question number 23 is a circle question, and it's one of the geometric questions that not many people get right, let alone get any marks. Now C is a circle with a center 0, 0. Therefore we know that it is a standard circle with the standard equation of a circle. L is a straight line. The circle and P in the circle and the line C intersects at the points P and Q. Now over here, P intersects P at 510. 510 would be something around here. This would be P, and the x coordinate of Q is minus 2. So that should be somewhere around here. Now what we are looking for is for the value of k. The value of k is given at 0k, which is the y-intercept for the line L. So what we are looking for is line L's equation. Now to do this, we use y equals mx plus c. And we know that and in order to find the gradient, we need to find the coordinates of point Q. Now, as we know, the equation of the circle is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Here it's x squared plus y squared equals, in this case it would be 10 squared plus 5 squared from question 1. Therefore that would equal x squared plus y squared equals 125. Therefore the radius would be root 125. Therefore, point Q equals plus or minus 125 subtract minus 2 squared. Now the minus 2 squared comes from the x coordinate. So we know here that the y squared equals r squared subtract x squared. Now to get y, we'd just square root this, and that's what we have done here. Now on this part of the question, we know that the gradient is, so over here we know that y equals minus 11. So now what we would do is 10 subtract 11 over 5 subtract. This would be 21 over 7, and this would be 3. Therefore, y equals 3x plus c. Now, as we are looking for the y-intercept, we would do y equals 3 times by 0 plus c. Therefore, k equals 10 minus k over 5. Now, this was quite a tricky paper, to be honest. However, until question 18 or 19, you should be able to get full marks, as there's nothing challenging. It wasn't really problem solving, and as long as you know what you're doing, you should be able to achieve full marks. Now, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section below. I will be answering them. I'll stay online for another few minutes in case anyone has any questions from here. And good luck for tomorrow's exam. Make sure you smash it. Don't let any exams affect your other exams. Once you do an exam, forget about it. Do not think about it till your results stay in August now, or until the end of your exam period, as you don't want one of your exams to be affecting any others. If you have any other questions, just leave them in the comment section below. I will be reading out the comments and answering any questions you have for tomorrow's exam. Now, if nobody has any questions, I will be ending this live stream here. And now, for tomorrow's exam, good luck. Make sure you smash it. If you have any other questions, just tag me in the comment section below. I will answer your question. And after the exam, just let me know how it went. If you have any, if you know any of the exam questions that came up and you'd be happy to share, just tag me on my comment section and send me the question, and I'll be answering the question and be doing a walkthrough tomorrow. Alright, thank you for watching, and good luck for tomorrow's exam.